Today on an all-new Dr. Phil, her dad's getting remarried.
I didn't tell my daughter I was getting engaged.
I found out about the engagement on Facebook.
What's your age difference?
29 years.
Brooke is only 4 years older than me.
She claims her future stepmom
Do you want to be a bridesmaid?
Not really.
is a scheming gold digger.
She says you are a huge bitch and tried to have her cat killed.
That's completely, untrue.
You say she's dumb.
I don't think you are, incredibly dumb.
She just semi-dumb.
She has brain cells, but she doesn't use them a lot.
Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
Today's going to be a changing day in your life.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. Well, 19-year-old Bree says she was extremely close to her dad growing up. He went to all of her sporting games and built her a treehouse. They had such a tight bond that she chose to live with him after her parents divorced 7 years ago. But now Bree says their bond has been broken, and she fears she has lost him forever, all because she believes he is being manipulated by a conniving woman named Brooke, who Bree says is just after him for his money. And Brooke is only 24. That's just about 4 years older than Bree. Now, just a few weeks ago, David proposed to Brooke, and Bree says she had to find out on Facebook because her once communicative father is so lovesick, he didn't even bother to tell her. But bride-to-be Brooke says she wants her soon-to-be stepdaughter Bree to stop acting like a snotty brat and start accepting that they will be a family. Because she's in love with Bree's father, and she isn't going anywhere. Take a look.
Just a few weeks ago, I found out my 53-year-old dad got engaged to his 24-year-old girlfriend, Brooke. The crazy thing is, Brooke is only 4 years older than me.
David and I met about a year ago. But I thought, wow, this guy's really hot. When I think about our age difference, it doesn't bother me. We're both happy.
When I think about this, I feel sick, embarrassed, confused.
A few months after dating David, he asked me to move in with him with my 2 children.
I walk into the house and I'm like, what the hell is this woman doing in our house with her kids? I look Brooke in the face and I say, what are you doing here? And she looks me back and says, I live here. My dad didn't even ask me or tell me. After Brooke and her kids moved in, I didn't even want to bring my friends over to the house. I didn't want to have to explain that this girl living in our house was my dad's girlfriend, let alone my future stepmom. I can't stand to be around her. She's very superficial and fake.
Bree's told me just to stay out of her and her dad's life and just mind my own business.
I feel Brooke is immature, she's manipulative. Frankly, I think she's kind of dumb.
Bree would be upset if any woman came into her dad's house. She acts like a spoiled brat.
She's messy, she's lazy. It's like a typical 20-year-old.
She's called me a bitch, and she's called me a whore, and she's told me I was crazy.
I feel like she's a scheming gold digger. She's up to something. I think she's a freeloader. She doesn't have a job. She and her 2 children completely reliant on my dad.
Bree is trying so hard to control the situation, and she's definitely trying to sabotage my relationship with David.
Well, so you think she's a brat, and you think she's dumb and a freeloader.
Yeah.
Other than that, y'all get along great. So you've known David for how long?
A little over a year.
A little over a year. And you got engaged when?
Like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. You had an announcement that was put up September 12th, right? Mm-hmm. And it said, we are celebrating our engagement with some Riesling and sushi. It looks like I'm going to be a family member. Brooke is with David, got engaged to David. And is that what you saw?
Yeah. It shows up on my dad's Facebook because he's tagged in it, obviously.
Yeah. What'd you think?
Well, I mean, I was pretty hurt. I was pretty blindsided. I mean, my dad and I had actually gone out to get lunch the day before. I saw all that stuff on Facebook, and he had never even mentioned that he was...
He didn't say boo.
He had never mentioned that he was going to propose to Brooke.
She says you are, quote, a huge bitch, and tried to have her cat killed and get rid of her dog.
How did I try and get the cat killed? I don't understand that one. That's completely, like, untrue.
Right.
Well, that's a pretty random thing to make up.
Brooke asked if she could bring her cat to the house, and my dad said, yeah, go ahead. So she brought her cat along, and my cat, Chrissy, started peeing around the house. So my cat was, like, moved to the garage, and Brooke had been, like, texting my dad before that saying, oh, you should bring Chrissy to the vet. She needs to be euthanized. She's peeing on my clothes.
No, that's actually not what I said. What I said is I don't want the cat in the garage. Maybe we should consider finding a new home for that cat.
And then you told my dad that my cat should be euthanized.
Okay. I mean, I don't recall saying that, so.
How do you not recall? Well, you texted it, but...
No, I didn't.
Okay.
So you say Bree asked you, why do you want to be with such an old man?
Yeah.
Why do you?
Because I love him.
Huh?
Because I love him.
Would you have been interested in my dad if he didn't have the career that he had? If he couldn't take care of you?
Yeah, I would. I think he's funny. I think it's...
Just,
he has more than just that.
Would you be with someone that didn't have a job? I'm just asking because you
Would I be
don't
with
have a job.
somebody that's jobless? No. No, I would not.
Because you need someone
because that says a lot about a man if he's not, if he doesn't have a job.
But what does that say about you? Because you don't have a job either.
And I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I have a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old at home.
Are you jealous of her?
No. About what?
Well, it was you and your dad. And now somebody about your age comes in and your dad's given a lot of attention to her, and now you don't have your dad to yourself.
Well, I want my dad to be in a relationship, don't get me wrong. I just don't think being in a relationship with someone that's only 4 years older than his only daughter is right. And I don't think it's in a very adult relationship. And I'm more aggravated than jealous that she's reading my dad's messages and stuff. I mean...
You're afraid he's going to get hurt.
I'm definitely afraid of that.
And she's trying to kill your cat.
Yeah, that sucks.
And you say that's not true.
I don't recall saying that. If I did, like, the cat is older and was peeing on stuff.
So,
Well,
like,
hell, I'm older. Don't look at me. I promise I won't pee on anything, but...
Good.
I mean, but you might have said it.
I might have said it. I don't remember saying that. Maybe I did. I'm not confirming or denying because I really don't know right now.
Why do you say she's dumb?
I don't think you are, like, incredibly dumb, but I think you're very immature.
Okay.
She just semi-dumb? I mean, what do you...
Yeah. I mean, she has brain cells, but she doesn't use them a lot.
Well, I'm just wondering if y'all have given each other a chance.
I have. Like, I've tried. I mean...
Have you given each other a chance? You just didn't click?
No, it's just like, you know, I overstepped my boundaries one time when her and David got into an argument, and I kind of, like, stepped in as things were getting out of control, and I shouldn't have gotten into it. And I don't know, like, I've never been a step-parent before. Like, I've never dated anybody that had, like...
You don't consider yourself a step-parent?
No, like, I've never been, like
you're not, like, even
dated,
old enough to, like, feasibly
I know,
be my
like,
parent.
I don't want to be your stepmom. I don't want that. I'm saying I've never dealt with this situation before is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, so Bree's father, David, is here. Is he purposely trying to not include Bree in any plans with his future wife? as his daughter claims? Well, we're going to find out. We're going to talk to him next.
There's definitely great chemistry between Brooke and I. Her beauty is the first thing that caught my attention. My daughter and Brooke, they do not get along. I lied to my daughter. I told her that Brooke and I were never going to get married. I'm just caught in the middle between the two of them.
And later,
You always
No.
put your relationships above me.
It's tough.
It's a pattern. Maybe Dr. Phil could convince you not to get married.
are y'all planning on having a baby?
Since my dad met Brooke, my relationship with my dad has really changed. My dad and I have always been super close. I feel like my dad has given up on our relationship to be in a relationship with Brooke.
What Bree needs to understand is she's the one stepping away from the relationship. It's not David.
Well, Bree says her 53-year-old father, David, jumped into a relationship with a 24-year-old woman, Brooke, after just knowing her for 4 weeks. He then moved Brooke into his home along with her 2 small children and just recently proposed marriage to her, much to the despair of his daughter, Bree. Now, Bree claims this is all part of Brooke's scheming plan to get her hands on her father's money. But David says, no, 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 no. He protected his money with a prenup. He's just happy that young and beautiful Brooke agreed to marry him.
Over a year ago, I was selling some things online, and Brooke came over to take a look. I opened the front door. I saw an amazingly gorgeous young lady. Her beauty is the first thing that caught my attention. At the time I met Brooke, I was finalizing a divorce with my second wife. I'd gone through a time of depression. Brooke definitely helped me get out of the funk. I don't even feel there's an age difference. There's definitely great chemistry between Brooke and I. I didn't explain to my daughter Bree that Brooke was moving in. I knew that Bree would be hurt and it'd be an uncomfortable situation. And sometimes it's easier for me to just avoid it and put my head in the sand.
My dad should be with somebody his age, not my age.
My daughter and Brooke, they do not get along. I'm just caught in the middle between the two of them. I asked Brooke to marry me.
I immediately sent a group text to all my family members, letting them know that we were engaged and we were excited to post it on social media.
I love gazing at the ring.
I didn't tell my daughter I was getting engaged.
I got a bunch of texts from friends asking if I was okay. I was confused. I didn't know what people were talking about.
I knew she would be upset.
I asked my dad, why didn't you tell me about this? And his only response was, what if Brooke said no? Which makes absolutely no sense.
I lied to my daughter. I told her that Brooke and I were never going to get married and I was never going to get married again. I completely broke my daughter's trust. When I think about us getting married, I feel excited. I plan to spend the rest of my life with Brooke.
Well, David, you've been listening so far, right?
Yes,
Not going well.
not going well. Brooks always told me, talk to Bree, tell her. I avoided and I shoved my head in the sand like an ostrich when I should be a man and just say it. And sometimes I think, well, if I avoid it, it'll go away.
Well, how's that working for you?
I'm on the Dr. Phil show now.
Yeah. So you're planning an engagement party.
Yes.
Did you invite?
Well, the invites were by Facebook, and I wanted to talk to Bree. I want Bree to be involved with our engagement.
Did you invite your daughter?
Eventually, I did when we had dinner.
You told me about your wedding 2 days ago.
I
When we were
know.
like already doing the show.
I know. It's another thing. I had my head in the sand, Bree.
You mean you just found out about the wedding?
No, he invited me to be in the wedding 2 days ago. I found out about the engagement on Facebook.
To be in the wedding, how?
I don't know. It was kind of a half-ass invite.
Like to be a bridesmaid?
Yes, to be involved in the ceremony.
So you invited her to be one of her bridesmaids?
Well,
We had talked about it together.
but Brooke can ask or invite her here.
Do you want to be a bridesmaid in the wedding? If you want to, you can.
Not really.
Well, then again, this just like shows like we've done things to reach out. Like I can't make her meet us in the middle or meet me in the middle and try and get along with her.
But this is tough for me because I love these girls and I'm like split in the middle of it. I didn't have the guts to stick up for Bree with my last wife and tell her that Bree's 14, 15 years old, you're mid-30s, you're fighting. Forget it, get over with. Bree should be in our wedding. I didn't have the backbone to do that then. Bree wasn't invited to be a bridesmaid, even though there were 14 bridesmaids and 14 groomsmen. Bree wasn't invited to be a bridesmaid, and Bree didn't even show up for the wedding, which broke my heart. And I don't want it to happen again.
Well, you're going about it an odd way.
I know I have, Dr. Phil.
And we actually talked to that ex-wife.
Yep.
She had a lot to say.
Yeah.
So we're gonna hear about that when we come back. Plus, Bree says her biggest fear is her father having a baby with her future 24-year-old stepmother. We'll hear what their plans are about that also. We'll be right back. You mentioned your ex-wife.
She's irrelevant.
She has a restraining order against you.
Yeah,
You think that might have had something to do with a restraining order?
maybe. I don't know. I didn't care about the restraining order.
And later, what's your age difference?
29 years. I know the future is going to be tough on us when I get older and Brooke's younger.
I actually put some pictures together.
David and I are planning on getting married next month.
So we still need to order the bouquet.
I picked out my dress last week, and I'm so excited to feel like a princess.
When I think about my dad getting married, I just don't think it's a good idea. I feel like it's not gonna last.
Brooke and I are just going to have a small wedding ceremony on the beach.
Are we going to do rose petals on the beach?
Yeah, or should we do an arch?
Just 2 days ago, my dad mentioned his wedding to me for the first time and asked me if I wanted to be in the wedding, possibly.
She said she would think about it.
It feels weird to me because Brooke and I aren't close.
I feel like if she actually would come, that would mean the world to both of us.
When I think about them walking down the aisle, I just think it's a huge mistake.
Now, Bree claims her father did not tell her that he proposed, and she found out on Facebook. Not a good way to find out, right?
No.
So why did you do it?
It's easier to hide than to face. But
That
I'm
was
facing
easier?
it now. It's not easier now. It's something I need help with, Dr. Phil.
You mentioned your ex-wife. We reached out to David's second wife because I like to know how things occur in context. And her name is Joby.
Yes.
She had a lot to say. Said, when I came home, I moved in right away, and that was really hard for Bree. We were married October 2014, divorced just this past September 8th. It was finalized. I feel bad for Bree. It's a hard dynamic. I've heard Brooke won't even let her in the house anymore. I think there are mental health issues with Brooke and David. Brooke has issues. Something just isn't right, like the things she does and says. She'll have periods of being lucid, and then she acts like a 2-year-old. It's like a soap opera. I hope moving forward they can find a common ground. I just don't see things being successful. So you know her?
I don't know her, no. She's irrelevant.
She has a restraining order against you.
Yeah, that I agreed to. I didn't care about the restraining order.
She's got a restraining order because Brooke posts memes on Facebook and Joby assumes they're hers.
She's blocked on Facebook. Her phone is blocked. Like, I did everything to keep her out of my life. She's just like, she's... I'm glad
why does
she's
she
out
have
of
a
the picture.
restraining order against you?
For memes on Facebook. The court didn't find that I did anything wrong. I went there totally unrepresented while she had a lawyer. I started crying and I said, you know what, fine, like I'll agree to it.
But we
Yeah,
don't
I have
we
emotion,
need
Bree. I know that you don't.
we don't need Joby in our life. We don't want her in our life.
Well, but you're engaging her. On January 6th of this year, Brooke sends this text: "My boobs are real, unlike your mom, haha." And then this photo was attached, and it says, "She's a gross whore, and this is Brooke. I'm going to destroy her reputation and yours if she doesn't stop messing with me and David. I'm done playing nice."
Yeah,
You think that might have had something to do with a restraining order?
maybe. I don't know. That was a while ago. Why didn't she get one then?
The biggest downfall of me and Joby's relationship is my work and my business. As soon as my business went sour, Joby went sour, and Joby looked elsewhere for attention.
Are y'all planning on having a baby?
We're not planning, but we're not planning either. I mean, I've always loved babies, and this is a terrible thing with me and Bree. Bree feels that if I want to have another baby, it means that I'm trying to fix something she's not, but I don't think there's anything wrong with her. I think she's beautiful, she's intelligent. There's no mistakes with you that I'm trying to fix with another child, Bree.
Then why don't you try to fix the problems that you have with me instead of thinking about having another baby?
Well, that's one of the reasons I agreed to come on this show, is because I'm not always good with feelings and relationships and stuff, and I do want to fix with us and you, and with Brooke. I want Brooke to be involved in my life, and I want you to be too.
You always put your relationships above me.
It's tough.
It's a pattern.
It may be a pattern.
And, you know, one of the biggest things that I wanted to get out of this show was maybe that Dr. Phil could convince you not to get married. But honestly, I feel like this is a pattern that if your relationship doesn't work with Brooke, you're going to go on to another inappropriate relationship.
Well, let's talk about that after the break. Because I want to deal with reality here. I want to deal with reality here and what can happen differently. Coming up, Brooke and David may think they've planned for everything by signing a prenup. I have some revealing information about that document that they signed. We'll be right back.
Since Brooke has come into his life, I feel like I'm a second-string player. My dad completely chooses Brooke over me.
Bree thinks that I am trying to compete for David's time, and this is definitely not a competition.
It's not my intention to play favorites. I love my daughter, and I also love my fiancé.
My dad absolutely doesn't see what he's doing wrong. I'm his daughter, and I should come first.
Closed captioning provided by...
David and I have talked about the possibility of having another baby.
When I heard that, I thought, what the
I've had a vasectomy reversal, so I'm very excited about the possibility of having another baby.
I think I'd love having a baby with you. Be a beautiful baby.
I've told my dad that he's too old to have another kid, and he told me that people do all the time. No, they don't. My fear is that my dad and Brooke are gonna have a baby, and Brooke will be a part of his life and my life forever. When I think about that, I feel sick to my stomach.
Well, Bree claims her 53-year-old father, David, is being conned by a 24-year-old conniving gold digger named Brooke. But joining us now is my very good friend, Ann Margaret Carrozza. Ann Margaret, how are you?
Hello.
Ann Margaret is an asset protection attorney and author of the book Love and Money, Protecting Yourself from Angry Exes, Wacky Relatives, Con Artists, and Inner Demons. I actually wrote the foreword to this book. It's available in bookstores. So talk to me about prenups here. There is a prenup here, and she didn't have her own lawyer. She waived that voluntarily and agreed to everything he has, he keeps, and everything she has, she keeps, and that's take nothing. What's wrong with this, if anything?
So prenups are valid in every state in the United States, but there are certain requirements that a prenup has to have. I looked over this prenup very carefully. I read it like 3 times thinking I was missing something. And prenups can be challenged in every state in the United States if they are too tilted in favor of one party. So this document, Brooke, and I believe that you meant to show David and possibly Bree that your motives are pure and you're not in it for the money, but because David gets everything and you get nothing in the event of a dissolution, this could not be more unbalanced. So it is vulnerable to being set aside by a court because it's a winner-take-all type of document. And you were not represented by counsel, Brooke. I know you signed a waiver of your right, but the law does not require that you simply be notified that you had the right to an attorney. It provides that you must have been represented by an attorney.
Yeah, and let me say, by the way, I think she signed this in good faith. I don't think this was a manipulation at all. I think she signed it in good faith to make it clear that she was not in this for the money.
One of the elements that I was seeing loud and clear in the document, David, is that you want to keep your business interests separate and protected. But Brooke, you should also be looking for some security. You're not working, you have 2 children, that David has no legal responsibility to take care of your kids. So you have an opportunity with this document to provide some security for yourself and the children. And that may be as simple as a few months' worth of living expenses, some money to get yourself on your feet in the event that the marriage doesn't work out, perhaps some vocational training at a bare minimum. So David, by giving Brooke some security, I think you're going to make her a happier person. She doesn't want to have to worry about every time you have an argument that her belongings are going to be on the front lawn and you can change the locks and she has no legal recourse. So by giving each other security, you're going to have a document on a firmer foundation.
Given the age difference, there is a fair chance he's going to pass first.
Statistically, you will predecease Brooke. And if you feel that there is some dissension between Bree and Brooke right now, you haven't seen anything yet, because this would be a will war, the likes of which we haven't seen in a while. So what I want to see you think about is, within a good agreement, that you make some provisions to do a will that says, in the event you predecease Brooke, she and her kids are able to stay in the home for a certain amount of time, at the very least. Otherwise, if it's up to Bree, I don't know that Brooke would be very secure.
And what do we do to fix what's happening here right now? We'll be right back. Closed captioning provided by...
I've been married 2 other times. My last wife took me to the bank. I believe she was a gold digger.
I feel like with Brooke, it's going to be just like with his last wife.
I have no alternative motive. I'm marrying him not for his money, but because we love each other. We both came up with the idea to sign a prenuptial agreement.
With the prenup agreement, it just makes me feel protected, and it gives me a good feeling of who Brooke really is.
Even though they signed a prenuptial agreement, I'm sure she's still entitled to some of his benefits. Brooke is a gold digger. She wants my dad to continue to financially take care of her and her kids.
Let's look at divorce rates. For first marriage, everybody thinks the divorce rate in America is 50%. That's not true. It's actually 35 to 40%. It's not as bad as everybody thinks. For second marriage, it's 60 to 65%. For third marriage, your chance of getting divorced is 7 out of 10.
I can't give up trying. My business fails prior. I get back up and I keep trying. I'm going to keep running my head into the wall till I bust the wall or bust my head, and hopefully I'm not busting my head with Brooke.
Well, let's look at the other risk factors here, because there are also statistics on the likelihood of divorce based on age gap. If there's a 10-year age gap, 39%. A 20-year age gap, 95%. The 30-year age gap, 172% likelihood of divorce. What's your age difference?
29 years.
And this is your third marriage.
Yes.
Now, you've got emotion involved. Take the emotion out. Say I was selling you a car, okay,
Yeah.
instead of marriage. And I said, okay, now, David, this car I'm selling you, I'm going to admit to you it's old. And I don't know whether it's going to run or not. Because 172% of the time we get in it, it does not run. Okay?
Yeah.
And I know you've bought it once, I know, and it didn't work. And I know I sold it to you a second time and it didn't work. And I know I sold it to you now a third time I'm asking you to buy it, and it hasn't ever worked before. But what do you say? You want to buy this?
Like, we're not a car. Like,
Yeah.
that's just different. We're both being optimistic, and honestly, like,
I don't feel there's
if we're happy,
I don't
then
feel the age
why,
difference between me and Brooke.
why does it really
No,
matter to
you
anybody
don't feel
else?
the age difference so much right now.
Right.
I actually put some pictures together. These are not of you, but they're pictures of people that are similar. Okay, here's the difference when you're 44 and 73. This is your age difference. And you see, you accelerate in aging
Yeah.
much more than she does. And here's the age difference at 54 and 83. So the age gap is this much now, but it's that much in 20 years, is that much in 30 years. I mean, you start aging a lot faster. But you got to have a 172% chance of never getting there anyway.
Right.
Brooke likes to drink a lot. She drinks like any 20-year-old, but you don't want to go out as much as she does, and you've thought about that.
You said, I don't want to keep doing what I've been doing. I want to change things. So the way to change things is, you said, I tend to put my head in the sand like an ostrich. Well, I'm telling you, pull your head out of the sand and realize you're going into a high-risk relationship. And don't say, yeah, but. You're going into a high-risk relationship. And I am convinced you're going to do it. But you can't do it with your head in the sand.
Right.
You're going into a high-risk relationship. You know the reasons that huge marriages end in divorce? The number one reason is family acceptance. There's a problem with family acceptance. And there's the question of children. The younger one wants to have children, the older one doesn't. There's that imbalance of power, blending families, illness, aging at different rates. There's all these things that we're talking about. Those are things that you cannot get away from. And the number one reason for divorce, period, is incompatibility. And when you're 53 and 24, there's some incompatibility. You want to go to sleep in your recliner, she wants to go jogging. I mean, there can be a huge difference.
Well, right now I feel we get along great. I mean, the future, there will be some issues we got to work through.
What do you think?
I
No, I want to know, what do you think?
When I lived with them, they fought constantly, so I don't see it as harmonious. I don't know how.
Well, we don't fight constantly, but relationships are tough, and we occasionally fight, but I've never got along with somebody as well as I do with Brooke. We love it.
There's already problems with your age difference. Like, Brooke likes to drink a lot, and I'm not saying that's a problem. She drinks like any 20-year-old, but you don't want to go out as much as she does, and you've thought about that.
No, we don't fight about that. We both love to drink occasionally. Occasionally. Yeah.
It's like we understand, like, the differences. Like, we get that, and we're working on that. And
Like, I've even recommended like premarital therapy. I think would be a really good idea.
Yeah, that'd be a great idea. Really,
And
there's very important things to cover that would really improve your chances.
and we're all up for therapy. I mean, and even though this prenup may not be right or whatever, the intention was, Brooke, to show me that, hey, I'm not in this to fight you, and I'm not in this to be married for a year, get divorced, and try to take your money. She truly says that and believes that, you know, what she signed would give me everything that I had, and she would take what she had.
All right, so why could this work? I mean, it can't all be bleak, right? I mean, there's got to be some positives here. Why could this work? Why could she feel okay about this? Why could daughter and dad find a reason to build this relationship back to where it should be? There are answers, and I'm going to give them to you when we come back. Closed captioning provided by... I've been very honest with you guys that this is a high-risk relationship. And at least acknowledge that.
Yeah.
You acknowledge that?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That means you should take every effort, every measure you can to reduce the risk. Premarital counseling is very important. There are very specific premarital counseling protocols that you go through. And in there, you talk about things like family, how you're going to handle your concept of family, children, parenting philosophy, religion, careers, in-law boundaries, privacy, sexual expectations, division of labor just on a day-to-day basis, who's going to do what, finances, future planning, all of this stuff, where you work out a plan that both of you can be excited about. That can help you reduce the risk here. I said there are positives here, and this is something that I want you to really, I've asked them to acknowledge this is a high-risk relationship. You have to agree with the things I've said, right?
Yep.
What I need for you to understand is that your dad has an account that he loves you from. It's a fatherly love account that he has for his daughter. And how much he loves Brooke does not affect how much he loves you. That's two different accounts. He has a fatherly account for his daughter. He has a romantic love account here for his fiancee. Take it from a dad. Forget about Dr. Phil. Take it from a dad. Dad to dad, I know the man loves you. He would die for you right now. So give him that, and do not put up a wall because he's making a decision you don't like. You can love him and not love every decision he makes. And if she is good to your father and she makes him happy, maybe she'll be here for a year, 5, 10, who knows? But if she makes him happy right now, that's something you have in common. You both want him to be happy. And quit being a worm and digging your head in the sand, and be up front with your daughter about what's going on. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. I want to thank my guests today, including my very good friend, Ann Margaret Carrillo, who is an asset planning attorney and author of the book Love and Money, Protecting Yourself from Angry Exes, Wacky Relatives, Con Artists, and Inner Demons. It's available in bookstores now. We'll see you next time. Thank you very much.